Hi everyone, welcome to another webinar by Ashley Banfield, Wealth and Success Academy. We have Nigel Moss joining us very shortly. We're about 1 minute ahead of schedule. Just let me check my other computer to make sure that we're all getting there. Good. So tonight's rather special. It's going to be for both you and for me. What this guy has done in such a short time is unheard of. So, and it almost sounds like, wow, how can it be? Well, I can tell you now that Nigel's going to tell you, because if I told you, you'd probably think, no, it's done okay. But if you hear it from Nigel, he has just, well, you hear his story. He's going to present it today. So we've got Nigel here in the waiting room. We're about to bring him in. Excuse my shirt. Today went grandfather's house, or so when you can make choices to do what you want. He's on half term at the moment, as anyone with kids would know that it keeps you busy. So Nigel's just pinged in. So it takes a few seconds for him to load up because there is a delay. And once he's in, we'll get started straight away. So there are some links that I've put in that you can actually follow us on YouTube. Loads of videos about property advice, some motivation stuff as well. Tons of stuff that when we get time we put on there. And there is also some specific training around service accommodation and rent to rent as well. Hello, Nigel, you're in.
Hello, Ashley, can you hear me? Can you hear me all right?
You're in, Nigel.
Yeah, I mean, can you hear me or not?
Hello, mate, how are you? Good. So while you're just getting set up there, so we've got Instagram, we've got Facebook. Yeah, loud and clear.
You're breaking up quite a bit from my end.
I can hear you, yes.
Yeah, you're breaking up from me.
Good, set up. Looking very studious. Okay, you're looking very studious.
I'm getting about one word in three there.
Okay, one second. Let me turn my, it's constantly using data. Okay, can you hear me now?
I can hear you okay now, yeah.
Good.
Excellent, yeah, got you.
Can everyone just type? Okay, can everyone type in that they can hear me and they can also, cool, okay, and that they can also see us on video. Can you please let us know before we get started? Otherwise, we'll get started and nobody will be able to hear us. We'll just some comments to say that everyone can hear. Well, you can hear me, so I'm hoping everyone else can. Yes, a little bit intermittent, so hopefully we're okay now. You can hear me now, can't you, Nigel?
I can hear you now, you're better than before, yes.
You can hear me now?
Yes. You can't hear me, can you?
Okay. So basically, I want to introduce you. I can. I'll let you introduce yourself and exactly what you've been doing, because for me to introduce you, I'll probably miss out a few bits. So tonight, what this is all about is completely 100% raw. Ask us anything. Nigel's going to give you the good things, the bad things, and the ugly things. He's going to tell you how good the good things were, how he fixed the bad things, and how he turned the ugly into beautiful, let's say. So over to you, Nigel.
Okay, well, good evening all. I can see there's a few people on, there's probably still more to join us.
The floor is yours.
Some people have probably sort of heard me through the Facebook groups and so on. I started doing property literally just under a year ago. So back in November of last year, I attended Ashley's service accommodation course. And from there, I literally got out there and blitzed it. So within 2 weeks now I've lost Ashley altogether. I don't know whether you can still hear me. I can't see if anybody says yay or nay, to be honest. Let's see if Ashley comes back in a minute. Hold on.
Okay.
Are you back with us, Ash?
Okay. Yeah, I can hear you because on you.
Yeah, I've just got your static picture now, not your video camera, but that's fine. So, so going back to that, so I did my course with Ashley back in November of 2016, and literally from coming out of there fully fired up and motivated and ready to go, I committed to take on 25 serviced apartments in the space of less than 2 weeks. Yeah, you heard me right, 25 serviced apartments in less than 2 weeks. I'm a glutton for punishment. One of my mottos is go big or go home. So that's when the fun and games started, because once we sort of committed to these 25, it was a case of getting all the paperwork signed up, getting all our ducks in a row, as it were, and then really sort of finding the funding, because I launched into this with no capital of my own. I had money of my own that I could live on from a previous company that I'd sort of walked away from, but I was very limited on funds as such. So I launched into this with using other people's money as something that Ashley sort of teaches a lot of. So I partnered up with a guy called Ian Taylor, and it was through Ian Taylor's contacts that we actually managed to find somebody that was prepared to put in 50k at that point as a short-term loan, which we agreed over sort of about 7 months initially. So you're still with us, Ashley? I'm not sure whether you're still there or not.
Yep. Here, loud and clear.
Okay. Didn't want to be rambling to myself for the next half an hour, nobody listening. So
I'll let you know if we can't hear you. Trust me.
Okay, yeah, okay, fine. So Ian Taylor teamed up with us. We got this cash lump sum of 50k. Then when we used that to start furnishing the properties, some of it went into deposits, but not very much of that. We myself and Ian managed to put enough of our own money in there to cover deposits and things along these lines. So then it was really a race to get these properties online as soon as possible and onto all the OTAs, so the online travel agents. So we could start getting the cash flow as quickly as possible for us. Obviously, when you're doing service accommodation, the last thing you want to do is have these properties sitting around empty and not have them advertised anywhere, because it's just costing you money. So we had the mad panic then to get 25 units all onto the OTAs in a short space of time, which is where my son came into the business at that point. He's a very astute lad, very technical, good guy for sort of detail in the background. Did a lot of the photos for us and this type of thing, and staging photos that we used for the OTAs. And the first properties then started coming online really at the beginning of March, which were in Reading, where I'm based in Berkshire. So we took on 10 apartments in the Reading area. A lot of those around by the station and sort of central to where business happens in this sort of place. There's a few a bit further out from town, but they're again predominantly placed there because there's a business park in the area, and I knew that it would attract people for that business park, so which is the reasoning behind going there. The other 15 that we've got that make up the 25 are actually in Stratford-upon-Avon. Now, I had a bit of a heads up because I used to live in Stratford-upon-Avon sort of many years ago, and I knew that it was always literally swarming with tourists from all over the UK and literally everywhere overseas. A lot of Chinese, Japanese type visitors up there, Australians, Americans, and all of the sort of Europeans, etc. It's a very, very busy little place. So initially, I'd looked at through an agent. I'd looked at 7 brand new apartments that had been. It was a commercial to residential conversion, and they were really done to a high standard. And I really wanted those, but we started negotiating on those. We thought we'd bagged them. The landlord was all in agreement. Everything was looking honky-dory. And then sort of everything went quiet. So the landlord then sort of contacted us and said, look, I've had a better offer. I've accepted that offer. Didn't even really give us a chance to negotiate. Otherwise, we'd have actually matched the offer and taken them for a longer period, but hey-ho. So it was about a week later that the same agent contacted me and said, look, I don't know whether you're interested. There's these 15 brand new apartments that have just been done. Again, commercial to resi development. developers bought them and done them. He's going to let them all out, but it's not with us. It's with another agent in Stratford. Here's his details. Give him a call. So we jumped straight on the phone. Following day, we'd arranged a viewing of this place, which was actually still a building site fairly much. And we liked the place, so we started negotiation on these 15 properties. So we've committed to take everything that we've done is literally we've taken for 3-year periods. So then it was a big rush to get all these properties on board and on board quickly. So the Reading ones started coming online, as I've said, beginning of March. And it wasn't until mid-April, so the Easter bank holiday time, that we actually went live with a 15 in Stratford, because we'd had a lot of hold-ups. Because it was on a business park, it's difficult to explain on here, but there's 2 entrances to it from sort of main roads. So we had access from one side, no problems at all. And we believed from what the agent had told us, we had access to the other side with no issues. Then we found out that the bottom gates on the site were being locked up basically out of hours by some person that came down about 7 o'clock of an evening, locked up the gates, walked away, and then came back at sort of 6 o'clock in the morning and unlocked the gates. Now, for us and our guests, this was a catastrophe, because outside of those gates, and literally turn right in about 3 minutes walk, you were at Shakespeare's birthplace. So it didn't add much to their journey by going out the top gate, but it's an inconvenience for people when that gate's there open through office hours and then closed out of office hours. So we've had to negotiate on this, and even to this day, we've not resolved that problem, to be honest. They still close it out of hours. So there's ongoing sort of discussions about trying to get that automated so we can have a keypad access on there, or pedestrian access, or some sort of thing like that. But again, it's just an ongoing thing that we've got to negotiate around. So these all went live in, say, the bank holiday, Easter bank holiday weekend. And we literally, as soon as they went online, we had 2 bookings within the space of an hour on the Stratford properties. And literally from there, they started flooding in left, right, and centre. So since then, it's just been all systems go. I mean, I've worked so hard from December of last year through to the end of June, when I actually was finally in a position to take on a member of staff to cover all the day-to-day stuff that I was doing. I was working from 8 in the morning till 11 at night, solid. You know, you've got to dedicate a lot of time and effort to get this business off the ground if you're going to treat it as a business and not a hobby. And by doing so, you can launch into something absolutely fantastic. With Ashley's support and backing, getting this up and going, you know, we've now in just over 6 months of actual business, we've taken over £400,000 worth of bookings. That's a significant amount of money in any business. Not only have we taken that much turnover, we've actually repaid the 50k that we had from the investor with interest, and that was done across the course of June and across the course of September. So everything now is profit.
Let's just hold it. Just hold it there.
Okay.
Because from the weekend, we were part of an event where we presented to a lot of people in the aid of charity for the Pancreatic Cancer Foundation.
Yeah.
And we spoke about some small numbers. We spoke about some big numbers. Eyed, if you like, glassy-eyed, when they heard Nigel say that in 6 months he generated turnover of £400,000, 1,300 bookings. And I think because the numbers are so big that people just think, well, it goes in one ear out the other, simply because they think that they can't do this and they can't do numbers as big. Yes, these are big numbers, but somebody's got to do it, right? And Nigel's done it with no experience in property, and all within 6 months. And as he said, the secret here is that Nigel has worked extremely hard since December of last year. And yet now he has a lot of systems in place. He's got more systems than most people because he needs the systems. So from his experience, he's gained more experience and fallen over a few times and right, okay, how do we fix this? How do I fix it so I'm not sitting there from 8 o'clock in the morning till midnight working out bookings and answering? So we've got automation in place now. and he's got somebody else handling that, because Nigel's been on 2 or 3 holidays, I think, in that time. So he has been working hard, but I know he's been on holiday too. And he's also living the free life, but he has freedom even in his work, because he is doing something that he loves, that he wants to do. You know, we talk about Steve Jobs, and, you know, God bless him, passed away a few years ago now. But his key words were, don't settle. If you want to settle for mediocrity, mediocre, 1 or 2 properties, 3 or 4 properties, then that's exactly what you'll get. Because I'm not sure who it was who said it, but I say it quite a lot, is what you think about on a day-to-day basis becomes what you talk about. What you talk about becomes what you do. You know, go big or go home, or something like that, I think you said. Yeah. And then he started talking to other people about it. So what he got from that was a business partner. He then also managed to get a £50,000 loan. Now you try and walk into the bank to say, look, I've got a business, can I have 50 grand? They laugh you out of the water, because they want the background, this, that. So you've got a business that you were able to prove to somebody or 2 people, but one person was willing to give 50 grand. So your talking turned into your actions. You went out and did it. And now your actions are turned into what? What do you do on a daily basis now? What are you doing full time?
I'm full-time property, but I'm looking for other deals, constantly talking to potential investors now. We've got, I mean, as you know from the conversations that we've had, we've got a possible 41 units coming on, or hoping to come on in the next few weeks or so, if that lands.
So we'll get on to the growth, what happens next. I just want people to understand that these numbers are achievable, but you've got to put in the hard work. The good thing about service accommodation, if you don't want those numbers, it means you put in less work. I mean, it doesn't matter how many properties you've got as well, as long as you're in the right area. And I've got questions here. A lot of people asking, how's it work in London, etc. Landlords, mortgages, all this sort of stuff, buy-to-let mortgages, council regulations, blah, blah, blah. So we'll answer those at the end. But, you know, Tim Dix said to me on the webinar, we have a mentoring webinar every Monday, and I think you're on it. And he had a question, and he said, oh, you know, I've just hit 100 grand turnover. And that's, you know, he's making 35% profit, which is about, you make about 30 to 40% profit, right? So you can work out the numbers. So he's made about 35 grand, let's say, within his first 6 months, and he only has 5 properties. And I want to say only has 5 properties. I'm saying only 5 properties in comparison to the 25 that Nigel has. But on the other side, on the flip side, Tim is doing this alone. He doesn't employ someone. In fact, actually, he's just started doing automation, automated check-ins, and he sent me 3 reviews since he's been doing automated check-ins, because he's got the automation so well that we've obviously showed him what to do, and he's getting 10s on booking.com in his area. So he's actually making more profit now because he's doing less work. Now he can work on the business and not in the business, which is exactly what you're doing now, Nigel.
It is.
So there's other people who are making 4 or 5 grand a month off 2 or 3 properties. You know, I don't believe that you have to go into shitty crap areas and listen to all the bullshit out there that it will work everywhere. Yes, it works everywhere. Well, not everywhere. It doesn't work everywhere. It works in a lot of places, but are you prepared to work hard for £400 a month from one property, or are you prepared to work exactly the same amount for £1,000, £2,000, £3,000 profit per month per property? Now you might say, oh, but £3,000 a month for a property is not possible. Well, I can say bullshit, because we have properties in our areas, and so does Tim, where we're making £2,500, £3,000 a month in particular months throughout the year. And a lot of people say that October is not one of those months. I know that you've had a busy October. Our October is actually, we have more revenue, more profit from October than we do from July. So I did say that we're going to go all holes barred here, no holes barred. There's going to be no bullshit here. We're going to tell you exactly how it is. Now, there are people who are working in areas that are not major tourist areas. They are not major cities, and they do not have businesses there that attract them. So Nigel has both business and tourism. I myself will only invest in places where, and I'm talking investing time and money, in places where they have high tourism and they have high business. Anywhere else, you're kidding yourself, because you are going to work your hands to the bone and you will not get the profit that you deserve. So it's up to you if you want to do it. London, yes, London works. It is a big risk to work in London, and we'll cover that at the end, because you would hear everyone saying, "Oh, work in London, I do this." You work London, that's fine, but there's risks to come with it, and I'll tell you what they are at the end if you're interested. So Nigel, back to you. I just want to make clear that there are big numbers over the next 6 to 12 months. Thank you.
No problem at all. Well, just going back to something you said about putting systems in place, one of the things we did is we looked at problems that were arising, took those in isolation, and then tried to fix what that problem was, whether it be the customer couldn't find the address that they were going to, then we put a map into Tokeep that they automatically got a map showing where we were, because it's not the easiest place to find the Stratford-upon-Avon place. So we worked on all the fixes as we went through to resolve them, which is now why we're so systemised and everything runs a lot smoother than it ever did before. But in terms of plans for the future, as I said, we're negotiating at the moment on a block of 41 in the Midlands. That's all I'm going to say at the moment. Ash knows the details. We're hoping to sort of get that one. I've been approached about a block of 50 in Manchester, and a few others that I won't go into details about here because they're sort of just early conversations at this stage. But our idea and our plan.
Please share the conversations that you've had, because it will help people, because most people here haven't had those conversations. They wouldn't even know how to start those conversations. So without giving too much away, if you can share the basics.
Well, yeah, no problem. I mean, the thing is, because my profile has been raised immensely since I've done what I've done, people are coming to me on Facebook, on all the Facebook groups that I'm in as part of being in property. And people are actually approaching me and saying, "Are you looking for, blocks in this area? Are you looking for places in this area?" And I'm responding back to those sort of things and saying, "Yeah, no problem. I'll sign an NDA and send me over the details." So it's just naturally sort of happening that way now. People are coming to me, and the same with people about investment, because they know what we've done in terms of getting up and running so quickly and repaying 50 grand's worth of debt and interest in the space of a few months, literally. People are coming to me and saying, "Can we be part of your next project?" It's almost becoming self-perpetuating.
So what's next?
Next, the plan is to be one of the major providers of SA in the UK. Excuse me, in the UK. We'd like to have SA blocks in every major city in the UK. So we can go to corporates and we can say, "We're the boys to talk to. We've got everything covered for you. We're a one-stop shop. We can do whatever you need us to do. And if there's areas that we're not covering that you need us to cover, please let us know, because then we can look at actually saturating those areas as well, potentially." So that is not necessarily with all our own properties either. To grow at the rate we want to grow, what we're thinking about is actually marketing other people's properties on our platform. So we'll help new people that are coming into SA to get into it properly. So when you're starting out with SA, it's very, very difficult to get on with the OTAs. If you're taking on 1 or 2 properties, most of the time they don't want to know you're small fry. They can't be bothered to talk to you.
Sorry, mate. For people who haven't done any service accommodation, can you just explain quickly OTA?
Online travel agents. So that's your likes of Booking.com, Expedia's, Home and Away, Airbnb, all these type of people. So to get, I mean, some other people call them channels. So just get used to some of the lingo, if you like. Yeah, because they're all sales channels for you. If you're getting involved in SA, they're all sales channels, and they all feed back into your channel manager, which you'll need to set up as and when you get enough properties to do so. But it's best to do that from the start, which again, Ashley can talk more about that later on. But from our point of view, what we want to do is we want to work with other people, because we've got that many properties now that we're taken seriously by the likes of Booking.com and Expedia. So if people come to us and they've only got 1 or 2 properties, we can get them onboarded very, very quickly. So there's no waiting around or messing about. We get them on. We can help with pricing. We can help with photos, whatever needs to be done, because we've done it and we know how to do it. We can help people to do it as well behind us. But that will go there.
So let's just stop right there and just rewind that a bit, because again, I think people may miss the value that you're adding there. So for those who don't know, when you first get involved with booking.com, it can be a little bit tough until you have at least 3 properties. And then you start to go onto the real the channel, the real UI, where you can get all your analysis, and it can help you know when. We had a training session on Monday on the mentoring webinar about how to read these analytics and how to use them in your favor, and how you are how you're comparing with both yourself, your other properties, with your competitors in your marketplace, and also the actual marketplace as well. So they look to compare you with the local SAs that are in your area, via price, ratings, that type of thing, reviews. They also, in the marketplace, start to review you against places like, the Hilton or Mercure's or Premier Inns and that type of thing. And, when I first looked at that, I was surprised that we are about £140 per night more than the most expensive hotel or service accommodation in that area. And Tim Dix had the same thing. Jeff, who's on here, he was line ball, but we've made a few tweaks there. He will now go up probably by about another 20%, 25% above the actual line ball. We don't want to be in this for just line ball. So what Nigel's told you there is that everyone on forums and everyone who comes, I'm struggling with booking.com, I hate them, booking.com, man, whatever they call it. Booking will be 80 to 85% of all your bookings. So you got to learn to love them, learn to work with them, not against them. What Nigel's saying here is he's holding your hand and giving you the golden nugget for booking.com, which is going to be your biggest, most profitable OTA. Thanks, Nigel.
No problem. And they're all the same. They've all got their own little sort of issues when you're trying to get on board with them. So we've been there, we've done it. I mean, I think we were probably one of the first people to sort of work with booking.com, where, because we were trying to onboard literally so many properties all at once, 25, I contacted booking.com directly and I said, look, because again, another thing that people don't mention is when you register a property with booking.com initially, they have to send a code through to that actual property, which you then need to go and receive, and then put that into the dashboard to actually get the property up live. Well, we weren't near all of our properties necessarily, so we didn't want to be messing about doing this. So again, I just sort of short-circuited the system and approached booking.com and said, look, we're bringing in 25 properties. It's going to be good for business for you, good for business for us. How can we do this differently? And we automatically then got an onboarding manager, strangely enough, came to our rescue. And we've got the same now with Expedia. Airbnb is a bit different, but it's easier to get properties listed on there, so it's not as bad.
And we also use a copywriter as well to write up, to do our write-ups on all of our channels. Booking.com's a little bit harder because they limit to what you're allowed to put on there anyway. So you can send them a massive write-up and they'll put in like 10% of it, because they give everyone pretty much the same write-up based on location to bars, pubs, hotels, that type of thing. So they're a little bit harder, but the others, yeah, you can certainly get them written up. And what these guys do is they will put some sales into it. So these guys write all day, and we can put you in touch with copywriters and that type of stuff. And I'm talking they're 20, 30 quid per property. So it's well worth it because it makes you stand out. Even the heading and what you actually call your property. When we had these done, we probably increased our bookings by about 20%. So your 20, 30 quid is eating up real quick for your return on investment.
The things that sell properties, as you say, they're the descriptions and the photography, because they're the two things that people look at when they're looking at you, as well as reviews. It's
the thing they see first. So if you fail there, you're dead. And you can check that on your stats as well. You can see if you're getting 400 reviews and you're getting 2 or 3 bookings, you need to change. So you need to tweak things. So again, you can look at your stats. People come into this thinking, I can just do this, and I'll do that. But you continually need to work on the business, not in the business. Nigel, somebody's asking here, do you use Genius or preferred partners? So preferred partners, when you take the extra 3%, you get invited into it if you're getting a certain level on reviews and that type of thing. So do you use both or one or the other?
We use both. We don't tend to get much. We get a lot of Genius customers coming through, but we don't give them any special benefits. We've not actually gone down the route of doing that. And the other part we've actually been invited into for the Elm Court group, because that's the Stratford-upon-Avon ones. So the Stratford, because the block of 15 have got really good reviews, and we were invited into the preferred partner bit for those, whereas the others haven't actually got that invitation as yet. But to be honest, we're getting plenty of bookings without having to worry about that.
Yeah, we're the same. We're trialing one property on preferred partner, and to be honest, we're not seeing any additional increase on it, and you pay that 3%. So we're testing it for the whole of October. No, and then we're ripping it off. Genius, we do offer a 10%, but Genius is probably, I don't know, 5, maximum 9-10% of our bookings, maximum. And yet we're losing 5% on top of the already 15% on booking.com. So it's a lot of money to lose. And, you know, quite frankly, answering the question there, Jeff, I think if you're desperate, use it. When you first start out, use it so you can build your reviews up. You need at least 5 before they're posted on booking.com. And, you know, do your utmost best. If I were you, everyone, you know, for the first 5 bookings, so that you can get reviews, is make sure you do check-ins yourself so that you can answer any questions. Make yourself super available. You know, this is exactly what Tim did 5 months, and now he's gone completely automated, and he's still getting the 10s because he knows what customers are looking for. He's been on the front line. He knows what qualms or what gripes they have, and he's fixed those. And most of those are fixed just with the automated emails and templates that we send out, answering those questions before they become questions. So we know what they're going to ask. So we found that works really well. We've also been approached by some guys in our area. So they only do my area and Tim's area. And they are looking to provide us with direct bookings, and they're looking to charge us about 8 or 9% is what we're going to negotiate with them. So again, I'm happy to say 3% on Airbnb, 3%-ish, because the actual person booking pays the actual fee, if you like, the commission. So the 3% that we pay is just an admin fee. So we like Airbnb, but in London, you only get 90 days to use it. And once you're up and running with booking.com, it will just quickly surpass Airbnb within, probably, depending on if Nigel took it up quickly, probably Nigel within 2 months. With us, within probably about 3 to 4 months, we quickly surpassed Airbnb. And
well, we actually
quite a bit, but Booking has just taken over. We get a few from TripAdvisor. Go on.
We actually went the other route. We went on Booking.com first, followed by Expedia, and Airbnb we put on actually last place. Although the commission is lower and better, as you say, on the Airbnb, for us, it wasn't easy to list 15 properties that are in one block. Their system doesn't really allow for it. So it caused us a few issues getting on there, but we did it in the end. But I suppose at the outset, when we first started doing this, and when we were just literally got all 3 listed, I would say that 80% of our bookings were coming from Booking.com, 15% coming from Expedia, and only 5% from Airbnb. But now that has changed. I would probably say that we're probably 60% Booking.com, probably 15% of our own, 15% Expedia, and the rest made up with Airbnb.
So here's a question for you, and I don't know if you want to answer this today or on Saturday, because you'll be at the course Saturday, won't you?
I will.
Now, we all know that there are ways of actually poaching other people's guests.
Yeah.
Now, we can do this on Booking.com. And I don't know if you want to mention it or you want to leave that till Saturday.
No, I can mention that. I'm just looking at our figures in actual fact. So just bear with me one second.
Okay, let's just give a high end view to the poaching.
Right.
Let's talk about what we do, but not how we do for now, because it's not a golden egg, it's a freaking diamond egg.
Well, if I say to you that obviously you know the headline figure is the 400,000 turnover that we've done in 6 months. If I tell you that just under £60,000 of that was poached from from the other OTAs, then that's where we are.
There you go.
So do you
percentage was that 24%?
Yeah.
Of your booking, of your revenue, is somebody sitting down on Booking.com and poaching their customers. Now the board is lit up. How does that work? How do we do that? Tell us a little bit. Tell us a little bit.
Okay. Well, I mean, I used to do it all myself. So when I first started doing it, what I would do is if a booking came in that was a big, decent booking, I would then, because the thing with Booking.com or Expedia or any of these, you don't get the contact details in terms of an email for the customer. You only get a Booking.com generic email that they give you. So everything has to go through their dashboard. But you get their phone numbers. So it's quite easy to make a phone call and say, you've just made a booking.
Enough. I think we'll stop there. We'll stop there. Yep, that's enough.
Okay.
Because this is being recorded, and it will be out there to the big bad world. So I think that's enough. The rest you can share on Saturday where it's not recorded.
Okay, fair point.
Good. Okay, brilliant stuff. So questions. Everyone's come on, ask more. I want no more. Okay. Sorry, there is no more. We can't do that tonight because of the reason what I just said. Sorry.
Contact me directly.
No, we don't even want to do that. Don't forget, this is going out to the big bad world, and it'll be replayed on YouTube. So we want to be careful. Yeah, and everyone's going to be like, "What? 25% of your turnover is from poaching bookings." Cool. So here we go. So I think I can answer these questions because you don't do London, so I'll answer these. So the reason I'm not turning my video on again is because it seems to suck up the bandwidth and you won't be able to hear me. And I've got Nigel there who can say you sound like a robot or not. So we've got some backup. So here we go. Amelia, how to make actually have on here, who's one of our students that we mentor, doing extremely well with his service accommodation in London, overlooking the river in a nice business and touristy area. Now, stuff it. I'll just say it how it is, shall I? Even if it's recorded out there, who cares? Right, I'll tell you how it is, because we did say no bullshit. So the way it works in London is, and I won't give everything to you because we need to be careful. In London, there are thousands of hotel rooms and thousands of accommodation rooms available. Now, the hotels, obviously, for them to be built, they have to get planning, and it's normally C1. Now, it is the same for serviced accommodation. Or the council say, which is hotel, guest room, B&Bs, this type of thing, but they now also include short let places like service accommodation. Now, there's also the 90-day rule, which exists. There's a 90-day rule that exists by the councils, and then there's a 90-day rule within the head lease of the actual properties. Now, I would say that 99% of all of the big properties in London or in the UK all have had leases, and they all have had leases in, and some of their wording is different around the 90 days, etc. Do you need C1? Well, according to the council, yes, you do. Are you allowed to break the 90-day rule within a head lease? Well, if you follow the lease, then no. Are you allowed to break the 90-day rule for short lets within London if it's under C3? Well, no. So that's all I'll say for now. So yes, you can make it work in London, but there are ways to do it, which I'm not going to share here today, but we do share it in our class. That's not me trying to be a smart ass to my class, because we're pretty much almost full on Saturday anyway. This is not for me to get people into the classroom, because we do have plenty of people in there for Saturday, and we don't like to have big classes where there's 50, 100 people or whatever, because you just don't get the same treatment, or you don't get to ask questions, etc. So, and you get left out a bit. So we do exercise. It's pretty hard to do that with 50, 60, 100 people. So some of my students on here, please don't tell everyone about the London bit. So I won't now, but we will on Saturday. Now, other people are also saying, okay, what else do we have here? Okay, gold mine areas, diamond areas, example of places where it works, examples of places where it doesn't work. Okay, so I think I've already answered that. Is the examples of places where it works, and you got to do your homework. I'm not going to do it all for you. I'm not just going to sit here and tell you all the right places. It's pretty easy. You just got to go online and find just search for like highest tourist areas, top 10 tourist areas in the UK, top 10 business areas in UK. And if they all match up, then you're done. Sweet. So you're looking for demand. Without demand, you will not get any sales or any bookings, or your bookings will be extremely low. I wouldn't want to be booking anything anywhere under £100 a night. I wouldn't want it. We average about £300 to £350 per night. I wouldn't want 100 or anything less than £100. You can jazz that up, but your floor price I'm talking about. If you don't know what floor price is, it's your base price. You need that to be a minimum of 100 quid. Then you know you're going to make some money, because you can add the other bits to it. Think McDonald's. Do you want a shake with that? Do you want fries with that, etc.? So what else do we have here? So quite a few people are asking about the London thing. Quite a few people are asking about how do you find landlords? How do you work around the lease, head lease? How do you get around buy-to-let mortgages? How do you get around regulations? How do you get around insurances? All sorts of stuff. So it all sounds very daunting when you don't know how, but once you do know, it's very simplistic. So there are a lot more mortgage products available now for serviced accommodation, and there are bridging products that are actually a very low rate that are now available for buying products as well. And if I could tell you that you can get into, and Nigel heard this on the weekend as well from our friend Michael, that and this is how he presented it. He said, anyone got SAs here? Yeah. Finding it hard to get mortgages or rent to rent. It doesn't matter either way. Finding it hard to get mortgages. Most people are like, yeah, okay. What about if I could tell you that I have a product that is completely no money down except for legals, but I'm sure you can find legals anywhere, and they reimburse it anyway in the first payment. And people saying, what's the biggest barrier? And they were saying money. He said, well, what if I took that barrier away? And this is a commercial lender. It's not somebody selling courses or, flitting some bullshit to get you in the door. This is a guy who sat down and gave us true facts. Do you agree, Nigel?
Definitely agree, yeah.
So there's always a way for everything. There's always a way. It's the old saying, everything is impossible until somebody bloody does it. So when it comes to finding landlords, no problem. You know, I'm pretty seasoned in this. I'm pretty seasoned in rent to rent. I'm very seasoned in property. And if you think of property like this, you line up 10 frogs and you kiss them, but once you've kissed them, warts and all, a prince turns up. If you go out today and walk the streets or do whatever you've got to do, and we've got a way that we get people to come to us, and it's very simplistic. Again, if you knew how, you'd kick yourself and go, what, is that it? And it's very simple. But if you think that you can walk out there today and the first person you speak to is going to give you... Now, some of you are saying here, oh, Nigel just got lucky. That's bullshit. Because luck doesn't take hard graft and work since December last year until now. That's not luck. No. That's hard work. No. There's no luck involved. No. And then, you know, he met his business partner, who's now is his business partner. There was no luck. He still had to convince him that what was going to happen. You still have to go and convince somebody to give you 50 grand, but it's a lot easier to convince somebody when you know that you have purpose and you have passion and you have a family to take care of and all sorts of other things to take care of. You've employed your son now and you're about to employ your son-in-law, right?
Yeah, well, my son-in-law works for us now full-time in the business, and my son's worked for us now for, well, he's a shareholder and director in the company and has been so for the last good few months now.
So there's and Ian's on the books as well, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So and now we're four people employed by your business now.
Well, yeah, there's 4 of us. Yeah,
that's within 6 months.
Yeah, and it's not about luck. You make your own luck. Whoever said that? It's you go out there and knock on enough doors. I mean, I'd spoken to loads of agents, and all the properties I've got are direct from agents, not from landlords. They're from agents.
There you go.
Agents out there will deal with you, but you've got to knock on enough doors, as Ashley says, and come out with the right spiel and give them what they want to hear, and you'll get there. It's a numbers game. Any sales is a numbers game.
Yep. And you know, we in our area there's about 60 agents, not agencies. There's 60 letting agents that we've spoken to. And we've had people tell us, go away, get stuff, don't do it, don't do this, don't do that, no chance, don't have landlords who work with you. All the excuses you would have heard. We've got 5 that we know, that's all you need. You only need 3 or 2 or 3. But we've got 5. You're working with 2, there you go, that we know when a deal comes up, they phone us. And Jeff's just saying, happened to me. I was dead lucky, beginner's luck. When Jeff's taking the piss. Jeff, I think you worked a bit longer than that, man. But now Jeff's happy, and now I think Jeff's now got. I know you got your second deal, you got your third deal. I think you've definitely got 3 deals. If you can let me know that. This is great. Jeff's enjoying it. Got purpose. His wife's happy. Holidays, all this sort of stuff.
That counts for
this can build awesome disposable income. And, you know, when we talk about business, we spoke about this on Saturday as well with some really new, fresh people into property. And property needs to be treated like a business, not a big flip or a get-rich-quick scheme in any way, shape, or form. And what you've got to have is you've got to have 2 games in property. You've got to have your short game and you've got to have your long game. Your short game, if you like, is your quick gains, as in cash flow. So Nigel's generating now cash flow, 30% of 400K, you work it out. It's over 120 grand, so 10K a month in cash flow. That's within 6 months. It's actually happening before that, but, you know, within 6 months. And this is after paying off loans, etc. And he's got people ringing him, throwing money at him because they know that the money will come back. And he's quite happy for you to talk to other investors who were paid back. And they're actually also looking at investing back into the business. So if If you want to invest, if you have money but no time, you want to invest as part of the crowdfunder or something like that for the next 41 that are coming up, you obviously know that you're going to get a return. Nigel's got a prospectus on what he's doing and what he's done now. So he can show you all that proof, etc. Show him all the accounts, whatever you need to see. So there's no problem with that. So let's take Nigel. Let's take Tim Dix. Let's take Jeff, who's on here as well. Their short-term game is getting the income. So the income that they get, you just need enough to pay for your outgoings each month. And then you need another 1 or 2 properties to create that disposable income. Then you get, another couple on top of that. So our service accommodation business, and yours very soon, if you were to take on 1 or 2, not 41. But I'm sure now that your business as well, Nigel, if you were to keep the money and reinvest it back into your business, the business will actually fund itself.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much where we are at the moment anyway. So we're putting it back in because we're looking at so many other things at the moment we're going to need cash flow for. So that's the basis we're working on. It is a business and not a hobby.
Yeah. So if you're taking 1 or 2 properties, or 2 or 3 or 4 properties in a block, or 1 property, where most beginners start with 1 property here, 1 property there, etc., 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, then after 6 months, I would say and if you weren't spending all the income, after 6 months, that you would generate enough profit to be able to then churn that back into the business and reinvest it. Because this is how rich people work. They make money. Think of that word, make money. Secondly, they keep the money. And then thirdly, the money that they keep, they then reinvest so that the money is then working for them, because in the bank you're getting 1%, 1.5%, maybe if you're lucky. So it reinvests itself. And what returns have you paid for loans in the past? You don't have to give it out. You can give a ballpark figure if you want.
Is that from me?
It's a lot more than 1.5%.
We with the investor put 50k in, we did 1%
per month.
Yeah, per month.
And you paid that back in 6 months.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So what an awesome return.
Yeah.
So that's so they've earned the equivalent of 12% over 6 months, if you like.
Yeah.
Prorated or however you do it. Yeah. So awesome. You can also use that future cash flow, as Jeff has just said here, to actually fund other people's deals. So you'll get 50% of a deal or 25% of a deal, however way you work it and whatever it is that you're putting in, or not guarantor, or just putting money in. You get your money returned first, and then you've got 100% passive income because you're doing nothing for it, and you get a return every month. So you start to reinvest in other people. We have people come to us all the time. How can I invest my money in your guys, in the guys that you mentor? How can I invest this? And the reason I say the ones that I mentor is because I have a part of the deal. I work with them on the deals, and that's why I said that they know they're getting the right thing done. So, you can reinvest, and it's so easy to do. There's no other business that I've come across yet that is so quick on the return, except for, say, something like internet marketing or something like that. But there's a whole lot more work to be done in internet marketing. Most people think you just, do a few bloody Google ads or Facebook ads or whatever. There's so much more behind a successful direct marketing business on the internet. But yes, the rewards are great. But this is the only one that I've found that just about anyone can get into. So it's up to you if you need the money or want the money or have a good why. And it might be that you want to get out of your day job. It might be that you don't have a day job, you don't have any bloody money, you need to just make some money. And we've had people come to us who are like that. So we're not trying to sell you anything here. We're just giving you examples and trying to help you if you're starting out in service accommodation. That yes, it's going to be hard work. You're going to have to put in hard work. I wouldn't say it's hard work, but you have to put in the graft. Now, look at your hands today. If you don't have blisters and calluses and scars on them, you're probably not really working. It's not real work. If you're sitting in if you're a desk jockey or whatever, it's not real work. Yes, you work your head, but you're not working hard. Service accommodation is pretty much the same thing. The people that I work with, They do all the face-to-face stuff. I don't have time for that. I don't have time for the trouble. So I do most of the actual the virtual stuff, you know, on the internet, which is I know what you do as well, Nigel.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's an amazing business. If you want to get into it, you know, get in quickly, because it's a business that's growing super fast. And yeah, I wish I'd have got into this 5 years ago, you know, and I know where I would be now if I'd got in 5 years ago. You know, if you'd have got into this 6 months ago, like Nigel did, look where you could be. You know, Jeff's got some amazing figures for what he's doing. We've got, I can't say her name at the moment, but because she hasn't had like the 12-week scan. But we've got a lady who on her second day of starting out on service accommodation, you know who you are if you're listening later, and she said to me, "I'm pregnant." And it's early days, but you know it's getting much closer now, and she suffered terribly from morning sickness, like really bad. And I don't obviously know what that's like, but she said it's just the worst thing you can come across. And she now has 2 properties already, and she's absolutely loving it. She's getting bookings coming through, and she's sending me messages every day. Got another booking. So anyone can do this. And you know, we've had other ladies who are working full time in bank. They go out really quick. They've got kids, and they're just so determined, and they need to do it quickly, so they go and do it. So you know, they take 2 or 3 weeks off work and they get started. So they forget the holidays. And you know, so many people say, "Oh, but I don't want to invest money in a course or whatever." But you know, they'll save up thousands of pounds each year to go and spend bloody 10 or 12 days in a dodgy hotel abroad or whatever, and get food poisoning, not all the time, and get nothing for it. You know, yes, they have memories, but you know, skip the holiday for a year. Spend a year starting up an SA business, you know, for cash flow, and then next year go on a holiday wherever you bloody want. So I think we've answered most of the questions here. There's lots of questions, but lots of them focus on most of the questions there. They're all very similar, and we know these. We know that these are the key objections that you'll find out there. But we've got one simple message that we send out, and you know, I'll do it. I'm happy to do it in the class, and I do it every month. And I pick a volunteer who wants to start service accommodation now. Everyone puts their hand up, and they say, "Okay, right, let's do it. Let's send a message out." And within 10-15 minutes, their phone starts ringing. This is agents calling them, and they know exactly what we're looking for, because what we send them, we tell them what we're doing. But it's how you word it, it's what you don't say and what you do say, especially when you get them on the phone. So what we will do is, some people are asking if we do a course. So I'll publish that now. You can have a look, click on it, do whatever you want. I'm not going to tell you the pricing. I'll tell you now, it is 2 for 1. You can see that there. So you can bring a friend. The next one is on Saturday. And then the next one after that is not until November. Can you remember the dates? I can't remember the dates. But it's not until November anyway. But yeah. So have a look. I did promise me not to sell anything in here. I wanted to give you a high level of what is possible, what you can do. You've seen what Nigel's done. You've heard Nigel's story. This will be replayed on YouTube later. You'll get a link sent out to you. So you'll be able to watch it forever in a day. If there's anything that you want to recapture, if there's anything that you want from me or Nigel, I'll send you an email address, which you probably already have, but I'll put it in here to save you trolling through your emails. There we go. So you got my email there. Email me if you want a phone call or a chat. If there's anything, especially the guys who are looking to work London, I'm happy to have a chat with you about London. But don't believe a lot of the shit that you hear out there. This is me trying to be open and honest. I'll tell you exactly how it is, and then you can go from there. You can make your own call. Nigel, any last words from you, my friend?
Yeah, just touching back what you were saying about talking to agents. Somebody mentioned something. It may have come from yourself when we first started doing it, but if you're concerned about talking to agents, make a few phone calls outside of your area where you're not going to actually be working, and burn a few bridges there maybe, and learn from your mistakes, and then take it to your area where you're actually going to work.
Yeah, but I will say I will put one little caveat on that. If you're going to work London, don't call somewhere like Bradford, because yeah, everyone go, yeah, mate, yeah, no worries. So if you're gonna do something in London, pick another area in London that you're not going to work, and then you'll get a similar response. So you're getting apples for apples, oranges for oranges, so to speak. Because if you test outside of London and you want to work London, and then you think, wow, this is a piece of cake, and then you start in London, it'll be like, oh shit, what happened here?
Yeah.
But I've got students all over London, all different areas. I know the areas that work well. I know the areas that work like it's makes your eyes water how well it works. But equally, there are actually better areas outside of London where they'll work just as well, actually even better, and it's all completely above board. So don't think. I'll give you one tip. I'll give you one little tip. You don't always need a fancy apartment. You don't need an apartment in a block. It is okay to SA houses as long as they have
bed in the lounge, and that attracts the most bookings for us. So I'm viewing tomorrow, or meeting a landlord tomorrow, that's got a 4-bedroom sort of double fronted Georgian house in the area, which will be perfect for what we need for the bigger families.
excellent, man. I mean, it's. I'm getting feedback on your sound. Mute yourself. Mute me. In my own properties, I don't have to. They take a little bit long to get, but once I get them, and I only take on investment properties. You don't ever want to take on a property that someone lives in because it's their baby, and they just get so attached, and it's just hard work because emotion is involved. So there's a lot of tips that we've given you there. If you didn't hear them, watch the replay and just make sure you listen very carefully. And then, so email me, Ashley, at wealthandsuccessacademy.com. If you want some more information from myself or from Nigel, just send us an email and we'll go from there. So it's Ashley at wealthandsuccessacademy.com. And we'll respond pretty much straight away. So thank you all very much for attending. I'm sure Nigel's going to have a nice, well-earned, what is it, like a smoothie?
Maybe a glass of water.
Yeah. Me too. I know Jeff's having smoothies tonight. So thank you all for attending. It's been great fun. I've actually learned a lot as well from Nigel again tonight. I always listen intently when stuff's happening. So I'll put myself on video to say goodbye. So have a great evening and forward to seeing you on one of our courses someday, or again on another webinar, or go to the YouTube link as I put in there, the YouTube channel. We've got tons of videos on there. There's lots of stuff about rent to rent. There's lots of stuff about service accommodation, and there's stuff about microflats and property development, because we don't just do rent to rent. So we're experts in a few strategies, not all of them, because no one can be. So thanks, Nigel.
No problem. Nice talking to you again.
You too, mate. Thank you. I'll chat to you tomorrow.
No worries. Good night, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Bye.